Most businesses already have access to one of the most powerful AI tools available on the market right now. And many don't even realize it's sitting inside the software they already pay for each month.
Emails, meetings, spreadsheets, presentations, documents. Microsoft Copilot can now help with it all.
Absolutely. And the businesses are using it properly are saving hours and hours every single day, if not, every week, if not days. And the ones who aren't are still doing everything manually, and you're really missing out.
So today's episode, we're breaking down exactly how to use Microsoft Copilot, the top functions every business owner should know, and practical tips that you can use immediately.
Welcome back to the Marketing Podcast for Local Businesses, the show that gives you practical, proven marketing and AI advice to help you grow your business right here in the UK. I'm Adam, best-selling Amazon published author, AI enthusiast and founder of www.websitedesigners.london. We've helped businesses generate tens of millions online through smarter design and marketing.
And my name's Josh. I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, an SEO and AI search agency based in London and 3-time winner of the UK Search Awards. Over the past 10 years or so, we've worked with well over 1,000 businesses and generated in excess of £200 million for our customers via our work.
Amazing. So let's start very simply. What is Microsoft Copilot? Think of Copilot as an AI assistant built directly into your Microsoft ecosystem.
So instead of opening a separate AI tool like ChatGPT, for example, it works inside the apps you already use every single day. That means Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Outlook, Teams, PowerPoint, all built into the Microsoft environment.
Absolutely. And what I will say here is there is a slight difference. So you will have access to Copilot within Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoints, and i.e. the Microsoft 365 packages and programs, if you pay additionally for the Copilot 365 package. However, as standard, I believe it's free to have the Copilot chat function within your Teams application. So check that out. But either way, for local businesses, this is huge because it's not just about content creation. It's about improving your productivity, your communication, your administrative kind of tasks, and your decision making. It's something that I'm really excited about.
Awesome. So today we've got 4 and maybe even a bonus hack to show you. And the first one is a really cool one, and it's about email drafting in Outlook. So this is probably one of the most practical uses. And I know myself as a business owner, I probably spend way too much time on emails. Actually, sometimes call myself a professional emailer. That's like my job title. I think that's just all I do all day, every day, just send emails.
So imagine this, you're sitting, writing you've got 100 emails that you need to respond to. Instead of spending 20 minutes writing an email or 10 minutes writing an email, you essentially open up your emails and you click on the Copilot button or Alt-I if you're using a Windows keyboard, and essentially a pop-up will appear and you just type in reply to Adam and say he's my best mate and a great business guy. That will then create a formal email. It will say, "Hi Adam, just wanted to let you know that I really admire your business acumen and you're my dearest friend. Can't wait to host another podcasting session with you. Best regards, Josh." It will give you the whole email just from those few words, essentially. And you can even then thereafter finesse it a little by saying that there'll be a prompt that will say, you can click on the little text box, or you can even click on the pre-made options where you can say, make it shorter, make it longer, make it more professional, make it more punchy. You can even type into it and say, this isn't gushy enough. Tell Adam great things about him, right? So the point here is, joking aside, it can draft your emails, it can draft replies, it can also summarize long email chains. So again, imagine I forwarded you across a to and fro of about 25 different exchanges between clients and external stakeholders. And I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to get your input. I forwarded it on to you and said, Josh, what do you think? And then you're sitting there, we're like, this guy, this Adam has sent me a 25 email chain. I can't be bothered to read 25 bloody emails. There's a button, blue button right across the top. If you've got, again, if in your Outlook, if you've got Copilot 365, that will just say summarize. You hit that summarize button, it will give you probably 3-4 sentences summarizing the whole 25 email chain. Pretty damn good, right?
Wow, very cool.
So this is a fantastic tool. It, just think about how many minutes a day that will save you.
A lot. So is this something I've not used.
Yep.
Do you think it's valuable? Is it actually creating useful emails, or do you have to edit them in every case?
I tend to edit them in every case, but I can certainly say that it saves me time, because sometimes humanly I might put a bit of emotion into a reply if someone's cheesed me off, and it's not the right time to do that. Just remain professional, remain calm. Um, and I mean, this is a very silly example that I've given, but ultimately, I want it to be my voice. I want it to kind of speak to my voice, and what it's not good at. And I think you asked me earlier was, can it really speak in your own tone? And I don't think it's really built for being trained on your tone just yet. So you do have to kind of change that a little bit, but it 100% is time saving despite having to edit a little.
I can imagine it will have that feature in the future where it's built on your tone.
Yeah. So Teams, meeting notes in Teams, and I'm going to go one step further. Transcription in Teams. So I haven't. We weren't going to talk about transcription, but I feel like it's such a valuable tool. So check this. You have a call, it's an hour long, and you're on a call with a provider of software that you want to use. But this guy has just used so many acronyms, so much jargon, and you're thinking, that went over my head. I don't really know how it's going to benefit me. I've got a really pointed question about um, how much it will cost, because they charge with credits, and you just have a question about the hour-long meeting that you didn't get to ask, or you just want a summary of the meeting. The transcription tool in Teams will allow you to essentially ask it a question and say, what did David just say about the tool, or how much did he say it will cost? And it will give you a response. So imagine because it's recorded every single bit of the call, you can essentially ask it a question like you would ask your favorite go-to chatbot or LLM, like your Chat GPT, and it will tell you the answer.
Well, it's very, very interesting. Is that exclusive to Copilot, or do the other? I know there's various different
Yeah,
tools that can sit in on your meetings.
yeah. So they tend to be called note takers, AI note takers. It's not exclusive, as in obviously Microsoft is a huge company and a lot of organizations use it, but there are external providers such as fireflies.ai, spelt fire as in a burning fire, FIRE, flies, FLIES.ai. I use them in my personal life because I don't subscribe to the 365 ecosystem. But and they are just as good. It has some very similar functions. Um, but I mean, if you're part of the 365 ecosystem, go for it. It has, and because you do get more with the 365 subscription.
I heard yesterday that there's a British-based company called
Mm-hmm.
Granola.ai.
Mm-hmm.
I believe one of the founders or co-founders is an American guy, and he sold a few companies to Google. previously. Big set up a company in the UK which does a similar thing as well.
Fireflies and Granola, I'd say, are competitors.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so going back to this, so the second hack was the kind of meeting notes in Microsoft Teams and the transcripts you kind of mentioned. Some of the other key points, key areas it can help are, summarizing instantly all the key discussion points, all the actions that were agreed, the deadlines that were set, who's responsible. So I personally don't use this, but I have been sent email summaries from Copilot
Mm.
or these tools like Granola, and it is quite interesting. It saves a lot of time for somebody who previously would have had to sit there after the meeting, write up all the key points, deadlines, etc., and send those on.
For sure. So, hack number 3, Excel analysis. So essentially Copilot in Excel. Now, I'm a big user of Excel as a bean counter, as some of my friends like to call me, or as an accountant, as I like to call myself. Excel is where I live, and I will give a very frank out analysis of Copilot in Excel. I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's. I don't rely on it day to day. I'd prefer to use formulas. What I what I do sometimes though, because think about it, you've got your Excel spreadsheet open, and then you've got a button you can click on the Copilot, and the chat function opens up within your Excel spreadsheet. What I do sometimes do is if I want to think about the best formula to use, if I can't remember the formula off the top of my head, um, and I'm talking to the Excel nerds here, right? If
Not equals sum.
No, not equal sum. So like an index match, or even if it is an equal sum, right? Even if you're just trying to say, look, I've got this set of data that that I've exported from a system, and I want to reconcile it to match another data set. How do I do that? Give me the best formula. It might even actually do the analysis for you in Excel, which I would I probably wouldn't suggest doing yet, because I don't think it's there yet, and I'm happy for you know those who do use Excel and think it's great. Please do comment on this podcast, and we can have a discussion. What I do think it's useful for is to say, what's the best formula to use?
Bill Gates won't be happy.
He might come knocking on my door.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've not personally used it again. I have used other LLMs to analyze data, and I found it somewhat useful, but I'm not a data analyst
Mm,
or super big into my numbers, so I'm not 100% sure how good that
mm,
is.
for sure. But I would say you can ask it to do a number of things.
Yeah. Yeah. So some ideas we spoke about previously were, can it be used to review your Google Ads data? So for example, you go to Google Ads platform, export last month's data, and you could ask Copilot, show me the monthly trends in leads for Google Ads.
Mm,
You could look at it to identify there's been a drop in conversion rates. There's various things you could do and ask it, and I'm sure it will be a valuable resource in that regard.
yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. Top hack number 4, PowerPoint creation. Mind blown. So you can essentially give Copilot within PowerPoint. So again, open your PowerPoint app program, click on a button top right hand corner, opens a little window within your PowerPoint application of a chat. So the Copilot chat kind of window, and you just say, you can do it this way. There's other ways to create this, by the way. If you go to like File, New, and then Create with Copilot, you just say, create me a 5-slide presentation for a client proposal on SEO services. And it builds a deck, slides, talking points. So think about the possibilities there.
That's really cool. There's various other presentation AI platforms that have sprung up recently. One that I've used, and it's not just dedicated to presentations, is Replit, which we've discussed in previous episodes. I recently did a presentation for an online event, and I opened up PowerPoint, I don't have Copilot. So I was like, can I be bothered to spend 2 hours creating a nice looking presentation? I decided the answer was no to that question. And instead I went to Replit, just copied and pasted my information I wanted to talk about, and instantaneously in 17 seconds, probably, or maybe less, it just developed a 40 slide document that looked really, really nice, very futuristic. It matched all the branding and information I told it to do, and that saved me hours of work.
Amazing. I've done the same. I've done the same using um, Gamma app. And again, I presented to a huge audience, and I mean, I didn't want to pay for the thing, so the service, so it had the branding on the bottom right corner, but I used it as a talking point. I just said, because I was talking to an audience of 1,000 people about AI. So I said, look, I've even created this presentation with AI. You'll see that I use this Gamma.app, give it a try, kind of thing. So Copilot's not the only tool out there, but you're absolutely right. It works in a very similar way. Use natural language to create a PowerPoint. I mean, fantastic. So, bonus. Imagine going on holiday, you return home, and you go to first day at work, you switch on your laptop. What's one thing you dread?
The inbox.
Yeah, the
Inbox.
inbox, catching up on emails,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Imagine you just went into Copilot within Teams, because it will have a separate tab. Click on Copilot and say, look at my Outlook, read my emails, and identify the top 10 priority emails that I should action first, because I've just returned from holiday. You don't need that last bit. But it will then give you a beautiful ranked response telling you the top 10 emails you should action first.
But how does it know which one's more important than others?
Okay. So depending on the size of the organization and how embedded you are into 365 ecosystem, you will have your organization structure inbuilt into the software. So let's say you're the head honcho in your organization, but your second in line, let's call him Bill. There's no Bill, but let's call him Bill.
Bill Gates.
Bill. So let's say Bill Gates, that works for you, right? Is your right hand man, and then you've got a more junior analyst who's asked a question, and you've in your organization hierarchy within Microsoft, you've got that org structure. So the analyst reports into Bill Gates, and then Bill reports into you. So Microsoft will prioritize the email you've received from Mr. Gates over the analyst, for example.
I see. What about if it said in one of the emails, I need a lower ranked person said, I need this by tomorrow?
Yes. Then it will prioritize that email. So it will essentially read the content, look out for keywords, and it will accordingly. So it will look at deadlines as well. Exactly. So it will say, you've got to action this by tomorrow. So prioritize this. Or Bill, has said that the bank account won't let us deposit any more money in there because we're making so much money. It's a great problem to have, right? But in all seriousness, it's a great tool.
Does sound very cool. You're almost selling it to me. I've never really been a Microsoft fan, and I've switched to Google Docs and Sheets and things a long while ago. So maybe it's time to revisit that, or maybe Google will have its own version of it soon.
Maybe. I
think
think
they probably do than Gmail, but
yeah,
I don't use Gmail either. So
yeah, we'll have to do a bit of research and maybe have another episode on that.
yeah. Awesome. Cool. So moving on to the next segment, which is talking about how to use the Copilot most efficiently. And this goes back to the previous episode we had where we spoke about how to prompt and how to get the most out of your LLM. And better prompts equals better outputs. So the top tip here is to be very, very specific with the context. Instead of saying, write an email, say something a lot more detailed with some context. So, for example, write a professional follow-up email to a potential client after a website consultation. Keep it warm, confident, and include next steps.
Absolutely. And one thing that you would have previously heard from a previous episode are the four kind of the best way to create a prompt, and the four kind of key things that everyone should be thinking about when they create a prompt. And I'm testing myself now, trying to remember exactly what they were, and I will remember. But so if we think about task, we think about context, persona, and output. There we go. I didn't even have to read my notes because I couldn't find them in time. So I had to force myself to remember that. So those are the four key things we should be remembering when we when we um, when we create a prompt. So be specific with the context, and number two, give it the objective. What do you want the outcome to be? Speed, persuasion, a summary, decision.
And yeah, I suppose finally, always check your prompt before you send it, and also check what AI has produced before you send it as well. So you don't want to send an email that's incorrect. You need to use your own judgment and not use AI to replace your own judgment.
Agree, agree, agree.
Cool. So moving on to the best use cases for local businesses. For our audience, here's what we think delivers some of the most value. So, firstly, responding to inquiries faster. Secondly, creating proposals. Thirdly, analyzing marketing performance, summarizing client meetings, writing SOPs and internal processes. And finally, creating staff training documents.
Sounds good. I always forget what SOP stand for, and I always like to spell out acronyms for our audience.
Standard operating procedures.
There we go. Standard operating procedures. Who likes to write them? Nobody. So just use AI. Basically, anything repetitive and time consuming is a great thing you can use Copilot for. If you're already paying for Microsoft 365, there's a good chance you're sitting on a huge productivity tool. Go check. Businesses that learn how to use it will save time, will be faster, then competitors will be more productive, and you can use that time to do more strategic things as well. You can clearly tell I'm very, very passionate about this topic. If you've got a question about it, feel free to just drop a note in the comments. Happy to help. And if you found this useful, please do share this episode with another business owner who needs to start using AI. Please follow us. It helps us create these episodes for you. And we'll see you on the next episode of the AI and Marketing Podcast for local businesses. Thank you for listening.